is our agenda for the day. Pearl is going to talk with you a bit about theory or our objectives, like how it is that diversity and inclusion work ties into conversations, how conversations tie into diversity and inclusion work. Then we are going to just explore and have little taste tests of some dialogues that we have with ourselves. I think it's important that there's certain dialogues that we have with ourselves. One around listening, and another we call the uninvited committee, or voices in our head. And we all know about those. We're probably having some right now, like, what is she talking about? That's that voice that we're talking about. And then also importantly is group dialogue and making sure that we're exploring all the perspectives in a room to make sure that we're being inclusive and that it's not just the illusion of inclusion, but that we're really including everyone in the room. Then we are for sure going to get to subtle relationship derailers, but because we misunderstood we made a false assumption that we had 2 hours when we saw 11 to 1. So we developed a 2-hour program for you, and then we learned that part of that time is for networking and lunch, and so it was a bad assumption on our part. We may not get to self-discovery and insight, which is a coaching model out of Fierce Conversations, if some of you are familiar with that. And then we do a reflection or closing model. So that's what the hour and 15 minutes will look like, and it'll be jam-packed. Okay? So again, thank you so much for having us.
Okay, so why is all of this important, and why have we taken this particular avenue, if you will, to foster inclusion and to celebrate the diversity that we have on our campus? Well, we think it's very important to underscore the fact that we have a diversity of thought, right? And that's particularly important in this age of the knowledge worker, where we have people who are paid lots of money to think. And it's very important for us to explore diversity of thought and perspectives if we're going to drive business results and generate the types of outcomes that we as leaders are expected to produce. We also know that leadership is just pivotal when it comes to the organizational culture. That leadership sets the tone. And so we ask our leaders at Georgia Tech to begin to think about this. How do you exercise leadership? What type of emotional weight do you leave on people when you interact with them? And we'll unpack that in just a few minutes. And ultimately, we think it's critical in driving towards our goal for inclusive excellence that we engage people in conversations. And in order to engage people in conversations, you often have to create safety first for them to be able to open up and begin to have a dialogue or a conversation with you. So these are 3 objectives that we have that we wanted to share with you around how we do our work. You like that? Okay, so I talked about emotional weight. Has anybody read the book Fierce Conversations? Familiar with Susan Scott's work? Susan Scott has written the book Fierce Conversations, and we have adopted that book in a number of ways. In Fierce Conversations, Susan Scott brings up this concept of an emotional weight. Now, an emotional weight is what people think about you or how they feel after having been in your presence, right? So there could be the aftermath, okay? The afterglow, something that sort of makes you think about that individual after having been in their presence. And we think this is important because with power comes responsibility, right? With power comes responsibility. It is a privilege to lead people. And so we have to, and we are teaching our leaders to be mindful and to think about what is the emotional weight that you leave on people. I believe it was the poet Maya Angelou that talks about this in one of her quotes, and she specifically talks about the fact that people will remember how you made them feel. They may not remember what you said, or what you did. When we leave here today, you may not remember anything about what we said, but I bet you'll remember how we made you feel. It's the same in the day-to-day actions and interactions for managers. And so here we see the antithesis of an emotional weight, right? On the one hand, we see what? What type of leadership might you see, might you characterize over here on this side?
Mentorship.
Mentorship. What else? Another act. Collaborative maybe, right? And over here, let's talk about that. You can think of a few words for that one, right? A few choice words for that. That's the aftermath, right? Not the afterglow. And so what we want people to be painfully aware of as managers is how they land on people. Also, we think it's important to emphasize the fact that this notion of inclusion begins with connection. And as leaders, we are hardwired, as individuals actually, as people, we are hardwired for connection. We crave it. So the absence of connection creates drama, right? We experience shame and blame and all kinds of emotions that make us feel and act in incredible ways, right? So here we're connecting the importance of leadership conversations and business outcomes, right? And in leadership conversations, when you create that safety, when you can have that authentic conversation with someone, then you are creating an atmosphere, an environment of inclusion. And in that type of environment, people will thrive. They will become more engaged. They will become more connected. And at Georgia Tech, for us, innovation is important. And so in driving that business goal as well, we certainly can experience that through conversation and the collaboration that we see when we are really engaged in deep conversations and dialogue.
So how many of you have jobs? You know what? I'd love to get everybody's voice in the room. Can we just stop for a minute and just make sure that we've got everybody's voice in the room? Can you just say your name and what company you're with? Can we start with you?
Sure.
Yeah.
My name is Joe Miller. I'm with a company called Acceleration. We're an agency that does employee engagement and recognition.
I'm Alice Williams. I'm with the Atlanta Journal, and I've been here for 14 years in advertising.
I'm Lisa Kremen. I'm with the Community Foundation for Greater Atlanta. We're a philanthropic grant-making organization.
And I'm Ed Block at the Community Foundation for Atlanta.
Ed Brown, HR Workforce Solutions. We basically look at the impact of charismatic leadership on employee productivity.
Jamie Carter, HR consultant at Career Builder.
Stephanie Brown, HR manager for Career Builder. And we help people like you find your most important.
Hi everybody, Stacy Millender, Cisco Systems. I'm the diversity chair for Sherman Atlanta. My full-time job is global inclusion and diversity leader for Cisco Systems.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Kelly. I'm with St. Leo University, and I am the admissions director for our graduate program.
Hi, I'm Sarah Tomlin, and I'm a free agent right now.
Jason Semino with Kinetics, recruiting firm.
Erin Faden, also free agent.
Sherry Kaufman, Berkeley Specialty Underwriting Managers, BGA Farm.
I am Sue Hurst with AES Executive Search.
Ina Gold, and I'm the administrator director for a small company called Cassini, and we are in BGA Migration.